you ready? Fuck yeah, I'm ready. I'm the Wolverine. Stop it.
What's going on, everybody? I am here to do a review for Marvel Studios' Deadpool and Wolverine. This is probably single-handedly the most anticipated movie of the year by far. It is the only MCU movie coming out this year and is the official introduction of Deadpool and Wolverine into the MCU officially ever since that merger with 20th Century Fox, which is now 20th Century Studios, has officially merged with the MCU, bought out by Disney to now be officially part of the MCU. And what an introduction it was. This movie is definitely mind-blowing. It is definitely one for the ages, and it's a very good introductory into Deadpool coming into the MCU, as well as Wolverine, as well as some other characters as well. I guess you can say this is the official chapter closing of 20th Century Fox and heading into the realm of the MCU. I think that's probably the best way to describe it. So the plot of Deadpool and Wolverine is basically kind of picking up where the end credit scene of Deadpool 2 left off, where he went back and he basically rearranged his timeline, pretty much wrecked it. If you saw the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He pretty much wrecked his timeline in order to kind of get away from the I guess you can say the drivel that was the stuff that came out of Fox with it when it came to the Marvel properties of Fox. So I guess you can say in a way, Deadpool is kind of responsible for the merger happening if you want to see it in that particular perspective. And now he's gone on and he's now living his life. He doesn't really want to be Deadpool anymore. He wants to just live a regular life, as regular as one would think he could try to live it, until something happens. Of course, something got tampered with, and now he's basically being pulled back in, and he has to basically rearrange some things or make some things be in some kind of a structure in order to get everything right. And the one thing that he's going to have to do in order to make things seemingly right is go and find Wolverine. Now, the crazy part about this is that this is going to be a bit of a tax for Wade Wilson, aka Deadpool, because he thinks he's looking for just a Wolverine, but he has to find a particular Wolverine, and the task is kind of hard for him because, as you all know, in the multiverse there are various versions and variants of individuals. It's never seemingly just one, so that makes his task a little bit harder. But then eventually he does come across a Wolverine, and it's seemingly for him the perfect one, but in Wolverine's eyes it is not the good. He doesn't feel like he's worthy of having that role because of some things that have happened in his past and in his timeline, which brings me over to the performances of both of these actors. Shout out to Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman for coming together and doing the Wolverine and Deadpool film that we have been wanting them to do for so long, especially after we got that nonsense in Wolverine Origins. Let me just tell y'all right now, that was not Deadpool. That was not Deadpool. What y'all saw in X-Men Origins Wolverine, that was not Deadpool. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but see, that's exactly why we're glad that that merger happened, because then they were able to get some things right here when it came to how these characters should actually be made. This was like the perfect buddy cop situation when it comes to them. You have two individuals who are seemingly on the same mission, but they're on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. You have Deadpool, who is the more comedic person. He doesn't take anything too seriously, but now that he sees there's a matter at stake here, he realizes that I have to take this seriously, because if I don't do this, if I don't do A, B is going to happen, and he has to figure out a way in order to prevent B from happening. Of course, you're still going to get the same comedic element out of him. You're still going to get the gratuitous violence, which I love that they kept, and that's going to go into one of my points later on when I talk about what I liked about the movie. but you also get a more serious side of Wade Wilson that you didn't really see from him in the previous two Deadpools, because in the previous two Deadpools he was kind of winging it a little bit. He was kind of new to it when it came to the first Deadpool. When the second one came in, he was already into it, but this one there's stakes at hand. So now he has to realize that this is bigger than him. He has to now realize his timeline is at stake here, and he has to work alongside an individual who he wouldn't really typically get along with in order to make this happen, which leads me into the performance of Hugh Jackman putting on the Deadpool costume again. The Wolverine attire again. Well, for the first time, because now he's in his traditional yellow and blue costume that all the fans have been wanting to see him in ever since the first X-Men movie came out in 2000. It's crazy to believe it's been 24 years since we first seen him play this role, and he's been playing it ever since. And there has not been anyone else that has played that character since, because I don't think the fans would really appreciate if someone else did play this character. And I like how in the movie they kind of joked on that a little bit. If you watch the movie, you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Hugh Jackman's performance in this movie was just phenomenal. Probably one of the best portrayals of this character since Logan, and that's a hard role to top, because Logan was a masterpiece. Like, that was a very, very good film, and seemingly what we thought was going to be a send-off, considering we think that, okay, this is going to be his last time playing it, and then he gets a call from Ryan Reynolds. And then he agrees to do it. So that means that mutually they wanted to work on this together. And I believe the fans wanted us as the fans wanted him to work on this as well. And it's kind of like they spoke through us on screen, and they were kind of saying the things that we've been wanting to say for so long, and they did it for us. Of course, with them having this movie, it being a bigger platform, of course their voice carries way more than ours would, but they still listen to the fans nonetheless, I'm sure. The special effects in this movie was it was grounded somewhat, but they also did some extra stuff as well, especially when they went to the void. That's where a lot of the extra special effects for this movie really, really kicked in. And when they got to that void, oh man, that's when it really kicked up a notch. Like, that whole void sequence, and every time they are there and seeing all of the things that they're seeing, and having to fight the people that they have to fight in these different battles and these different levels of threats, was just absolutely crazy, which actually leads me into the villain of the movie, Cassandra Nova. So Cassandra Nova is basically the twin of Charles Xavier. Her ability is that she's a telepath and she's a telekinetic. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's something she did to a character in this movie that made me fall, like literally almost sink into my seat when I saw her do it. And I think it caught everyone in the audience off guard too, because I could not believe she actually did it. It was actually one of the first things that she does when she comes onto the screen as far as displaying her power. This woman is an extremely powerful kinetic, and I thought what was crazy is how she's able to do her mind warp type of thing, or her telepath thing, whereas Charles Xavier, all he has to do is just kind of look at you and he's in your mind. With her, she has to do a physical contact type of thing, and it is so weird looking how they actually made it happen. It was like it's almost like you would not want to be caught even on a bright day around her and have her put her hands on your head. Like, it was just very strange how they did it, but she was pretty much a next level threat. She was actually labeled an Omega level mutant, which, now that you're hearing the terminologies in these films, that's just letting you know that they are here. The mutants are here. They kind of actually alluded to it in Ms. Marvel, but the mutants are definitely present here now. One of the other things that I liked about this movie is the cameos. Oh my god, when they said that there were going to be cameos in this movie, I remember when they announced that a while ago when they was in the early stages of this movie, they were not lying. Some of the cameos I kind of figured were going to be there. The others I was thoroughly surprised, especially with the first cameo. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the first cameo really had us all, and it really, not only did it catch us off guard with the cameo, but what the cameo did also caught us even more off guard. And then we saw some people in there again, like we kind of figured were going to be there, but then there was a lot of surprises, some that I was very proud to see. And it was like, I don't know what Ryan Reynolds had to do. I don't know what kind of strings he had to pull, but he did what he had to do and he made it happen. Maybe he had to put a couple of, extra coin in the check to make these individuals come back to do this movie. But I'm glad that he pulled it off and he did what he had to do, because we, and I'm speaking for myself, in the audience definitely enjoyed seeing these individuals, and the claps and the cheers and all of the whole thing of seeing all of those people there was definitely well worth it. The cameos for me was definitely a huge highlight of this movie. The music, I like how they did the music in this, especially in the intro. I was not expecting them to do that. The intro still plays in my mind to the point where I need to go online and see if I can find the version of this particular song that is a very popular song from back in the day, and see if they have that version somewhere floating online so I can listen to it on repeat. How they did that opening sequence, I did not expect them to do, but it was so on par with a Deadpool movie. Like, I think this is probably one of the best intros to Deadpool movie since the first Deadpool movie. And I realized that every Deadpool movie always opens up with like a musical number of a song from maybe like an artist. Definitely the first one was, it was Salt and Pepper. The second one was it was a Celine Dion song. I'm not going to tell you what the third one is, but I'm very certain you heard it before. So I like the music selection in here. And at one point with some of the music that was playing in here, I was thinking, like, am I watching a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, or am I watching Guardians of the Galaxy? Because they're known for their soundtrack as well. But I like that the music selection and the music choice that they decided to put into this movie. The cinematography in this movie was very good as well. I love a lot of the shots, it was a lot of wide shots, especially when it came to the void, because the void is so large. I like the more expanded shots. There was a lot of expanded shots when it came to the void instead of a lot of close-ups. And I just like how everything was shot from an aerial view, or maybe from a lower view, or like the right up in your face type of view as well. So the cinematography was definitely on point. The directing was good. Shout out to Sean Levy, who was I believe he was a writer, a director, and a producer. So he was wearing 3 hats when it came to this movie. So definitely shout out to him. One of the major highlights for me outside of the movie itself is its rating. This is now officially, history has been made. Deadpool and Wolverine is officially the first R-rated MCU movie. I was saying this on a podcast a little short while ago, that if this movie was PG-13, it would not have done well. And good thing that Ryan fought to keep it R-rated, because as you all know, the first 2 Deadpool movies were R-rated, so a lot of people were worried that, it's going to come to Disney, so because Disney, and they think it's with kids and everything, that they're going to have to scale back. Let me tell you something, they didn't scale back. They got that R rating and amplified. I'm talking about with the blood, the cursing, the sexual innuendos, everything that Deadpool is known for, you're going to get in this movie. I promise you that. And then some. And it's crazy because they even make subtle digs at Disney. They even did it in the teaser trailer. So I'm glad that they kept the movie at the R rating that we know and love. So I'm very appreciative that they decided to stick with that, because if not, that would have took many people out of it, to the point where many people probably wouldn't have even gone and seen it. So I'm glad that they decided to do that. Where they go from here with this series is kind of up in the air. Even with the post-credit scene, I would put it like this, it wasn't a continuity thing, like saying, it's going to lead into something else, but it was more of, I guess you can say, not so much a dig, but more of something related to within the movie itself. So it's not like, it's about to lead into the next movie. And of course, the next MCU movie, in case you didn't know, is Captain America Brave New World, which comes out in February on Valentine's Day. But it's a post-credit scene, and then nonetheless, you can check it out for yourself. But I'll just tell you right now, it's not a continuity thing. So it's not like you have to watch it, but for comedic purposes, I would say stay and watch it. But all in all, I really did enjoy this movie. Definitely well worth the hype. And to the people out there that's saying that Deadpool and Wolverine is saving the MCU, because I've seen this so many times, this movie is not saving the MCU. The MCU does not need to be saved. It's actually just having a rough patch, like most studios tend to do sometimes. Some have a more bigger rough patch than others, but it's an improvement. I'll put it like that. It's an improvement. And hopefully they can stay on the same trajectory, especially now that this has broke the barrier of an R-rated movie in the MCU. Now they open the doors for more movies going forward to be R-rated, especially one in particular, if they can ever get it off the ground. And I'm sure y'all know what movie I'm talking about. But all in all, y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comment section. What are your thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine? Have you seen the movie yet? Will you watch the movie? Have you seen the other Deadpool movies? Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Be safe and be one.